Hi there. So I just feel like talking again. I talk a lot. I'm by myself. I'm kind of like what you would call a introvert, but I'm a talker. Um, and here's what I want to say. It was either Trump or Kamala Harris. Somebody was gonna between the two of them, it was gonna be either Kamala Harris or Trump in office. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. I know Trump is far from perfect, but I don't care. I did not want Kamala Harris. People who are disappointed that Trump became president are trying to come with all these warnings to people as if Kamala wasn't going to be a huge problem. People act like that was really, really something great to choose from. It was either going to be Trump or Kamala Harris. Now, I also know, which is why I didn't vote, I also know that the presidents are chosen. They're chosen. I remember a guy, I don't know his name, but he was a Caucasian guy, elderly guy, but I saw him on a video once before saying that there's a number system. And he can tell by the numbers who's going to be the president. It don't got nothing to do with your vote. But even it's shown in your face that the electoral college votes, the person who gets the most electoral votes wins the presidency, because Hillary Clinton got the popular vote when she ran for president. She got the popular vote. She got the popular vote, but Donald Trump won the electoral votes. So even it's not a secret that the person who gets the most electoral votes actually wins the presidency. So I'm just not really sure what the reason is for people's participation in voting. Is it some kind of ritual? I believe it's a ritual. I just can't say exactly what it is, but I believe it's a ritual. But everything is a ritual. Everything you do every day is a ritual anyway. This whole life is a ritual. It's a whole big ritual. But I can tell you though, here's my thing. I feel like with Trump, something's going to happen where he's going to go against the grain. I know he's chosen, and they're one bird, they're two wings on the same bird. So one might go this way and the other might go that way, but there's still one main goal because they're attached to the same bird, right? But I just get this feeling that something is going to happen where Trump is going to go against the grain. I don't know what that is. Because people are going to say, well, he's with the stuff too, because him and Kamala Harris, they with the same thing. I get that. The Republican, Democrat, they are two wings on the same bird. Who said that? I heard somebody say that. But they two wings on the same bird. So I get that, but something about Trump where nobody can really tell him what to do. I think he's different from any other Republican. And there has been other Republicans who have gone against the grain, and things happen when they've done that. But I don't want to stay stuck on that. I want to say this. The reason why I say somebody had to be in there, I just knew I did not want Kamala Harris, because even though they're both supposedly in cahoots together, judgment was going to come a lot quicker if Kamala Harris would have got in there. I mean, bad stuff would have been happening right away. Bad stuff would have been happening right away. Okay? Like, it would have gotten worse. See, the thing about Kamala Harris is, every time I had a dream or a vision about Kamala, I kept seeing that she was possessed by something else. That something else was using her body, like she was literally a host. She was a host for an entity. Kamala Harris, whoever that person was originally, that soul is no longer in that body. Something else has occupied that body. Okay, Kamala Harris is I don't know where she is. Okay, and I saw that a number of times, and I also saw where Obama was pretty much going to be the one taking over. That is just not something that I wanted. Now, that might be something that might happen in the future. Who knows? But that definitely would have happened had Kamala become president. And I don't know if I would have been happy with that. But I'll say this. I'm not saying that it's looking a whole lot better. It's not as... I'll say that the damage that is done is not so brutal to the point where it's going to hurt you. It's bad. But I feel like there's still some damage being done. But at least I ain't in pain. That way I can, peacefully do something about it, work on myself, and peacefully do something about it, because Trump is heavy on this AI. That's where I'm going with this. Trump is heavy, heavy, heavy on AI. He is more into AI more than he is interested in the human development. And he even mentioned Mars in his speech during the inauguration. The last thing he mentioned about is building in Mars. I think one of my latest uploads on my channel, Journey into Highest Potential, I talked about how consciousness has been transferred to Mars. I know I don't make a lot of sense to a lot of people who listen to me. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not making sense to anybody, because there's a whole lot of people I make plenty sense to, because they already understand it. They already know about it, and that's kind of their life. That's all they talk about. So some people can know that better than I do, and I would like to hear what they have to say, because I would like to learn something from them. But I remember having a dream in 2024, mid-2024. I had a dream that I was in Mars, and my family was over there, and it looked just like United States of America. It looked like the United States of America. But to be honest with you, in higher realms, in the real world, it looks like United States of America too. Why? Because everything that we see is a copy and paste of the real world. But it actually gets worse and worse and worse. The lower we get in consciousness, actually things get worse and worse and worse. We're getting further and further and further away from the divine. The more people keep accepting deception over the truth, then we get further and further and further away from the divine, and we get to where we're getting right now with all this confusion. But Trump is heavy on the AI. I mean, Elon Musk was so happy when Trump said something about building in Mars. But I already knew that was going to happen, because I had a dream about it, and I knew that was going to be something that had to do with Trump and not Kamala Harris. That right there is going to be more to do with Trump. But even if Kamala Harris would have won, what I saw after I saw the DNC, I watched the Democratic National Convention a couple of times. I think just one time. And that was the last day. And after I saw that, I kind of had a dream of Obama. I saw him, and I saw this television, but it's like a little bitty television set. But through the television set was like another world that looked like the world that we're in right now, but it's a different world. He was taking consciousness over to a different dimension. Obama was doing this. And that's why I didn't want Kamala. I didn't like, every time I watch Kamala, I get weird visions. I would get weird dreams every single time I watched Kamala Harris. So I was sure that I did not want her in office. I know that they all in cahoots, whatever, Republican and Democrat. But the point is, has she got in there? I don't know if you would have had time to blink like anything, like stuff would have happened right away. It just would have been a sad, oh Lord, do I even have time to catch my breath? Okay. I've seen people talk about how it's going to be a blessed America and people are going to make good money. I'm not doubting that, but I'm not going to doubt that. I'm really not going to doubt that. But Trump is heavy into this AI, and it's just like my dream was. And I was a part of a group where I said I had a dream that I was in Mars, and a lot of people knew they were in Mars, and they were okay with that. It was a black woman that is in Mars. I don't know who she is, who she was, but I was talking to her in Mars in my dream. And she said, yeah, Earth is dying. I said, if you say Earth is dying, it sounds like you're saying a black woman is dying. You saying she dying, but she ain't completely dead, because not every single person is dead. You might have a collective that just might be dead, but not necessarily they're not dead. I don't even think a collective is dead, honestly. A lot of black women that we see online is not the collective. But at the same time, you meet black women when you go to work, you meet black women in your neighborhood, and maybe it's not the greatest, right? But everybody ain't gone. They just can't say everything. You can't say everything on YouTube. Everybody ain't gone. Earth is dying, but it's not dead. Because if Earth falls completely, see, we've had other planets before, planes of existence, consciousness. Because when you say the planet, you're really talking about a consciousness. Earth was a consciousness. You don't want Earth completely be gone, because now you completely lost the feminine planet, and you're going to, I think Saturn was masculine. I've always suspected being on Saturn. And Mars is definitely masculine. And not only that, it's a war planet, isn't it? So that ain't what you want. So I'm not caring too much about the Trump presidency either. I'm just really not, because I know consciousness is going to be transferred to Mars. I already know. I already know that Elon Musk is kind of not, he's not completely running the show, because I just don't think you can tell Trump what to do. But Elon Musk is heavily involved with this presidency. He's heavily involved. He's a big player in this. And Elon Musk is 100, I want to say probably 100% AI. So why is he going to care about any kind of a human being when he's not human? And I'm not criticizing him, I'm not judging him, but he's not human. And he can't help what he is. He is who he is. I mean, when I was part of a super soldier group, the leader of the super soldier group, he's an AI too. He's Asian. He said he was AI. So a lot of people that you think are human are AI. Already, it's a lot of AI. It was a lady, I think she was Japanese. She wasn't like Filipino. I don't think she was Thai, and I don't think she wasn't Chinese. I think she was Japanese. And she said that she was AI, and she said that she has it in her codes, because she was like a prostitute. And she said it's in her codes to be a prostitute. So they even understand the codes, that what you do in your life, everything that's going on is because of your codes. And she said in her codes, she has codes to be a prostitute. So it's a lot of, my point is, like, a lot of people that you consider Chinese, Japanese, whatever, they are AI. Okay. And like I said, I don't have anything against it. When I knew that, I kind of knew that before, but I didn't have an issue with it. Like, I wasn't pointing a finger at them, you know. But now it's like the human being is about to be completely gone. And I'm going to say this, I'm not 100% sure, but consciousness is going to be transferred to Mars. I already saw this that does not mean that everybody is going to end up over there, and you're not even going to know that you're on Mars. You're going to be on Mars, and you're still going to think that you're on Earth until something happens where you accept that you're on Mars. However it happens, something's going to happen where you're going to accept that you're on Mars. When I say you, I'm speaking in general. And that could be 100 years from now. I don't know. But something is going to happen where people are going to accept that they are on Mars. Right now, you can't tell people they're going to Mars. But Trump is telling you everything he's going to do. I briefly looked at a press conference with Trump. And I'm telling you, in the first minute, not even 2 minutes in, all I could hear about was AI, 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 AI. There's nothing about a human. I'm telling you, the human is done. Well, most humans are done. The human is done. And here's where I'm at with this. I know people, listen, with what I've gone through, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know who's experienced this, because I know it's hard to talk about this, but they are turning biological women into men, into robots. I was listening. I was listening to who was it? It was a lady, and she said that she had a dream about Blue Ivy. I want to say it's Monique from Henry and Monique. I want to say it was her, and she said she was talking to Jay-Z. She said, "Daddy, what is this I'm feeling?" And she felt the Adam's apple on her throat. But she didn't call it the Adam's apple. She just was like rubbing her throat and said, "What is this I'm feeling?" And that's when the lady who had the dream, Monique, realized that her masculine energy was taking over. This is something I've been noticing. Orlando Brown talked about how he had sex with Natalie Nunn. If you don't know Natalie Nunn, she was on the Bad Girls Club. I think maybe the first season of the Bad Girls Club. And she was on some other stuff too. I don't know if it's Baddies or some other stuff on hell, what is it? What is that network? I can't remember, but it was on some network that she kind of has a show, I guess. I don't know. And anyway, Orlando Brown said that he had sex with Natalie Nunn, and he noticed that she had a penis. And I'm telling you, they're getting rid of the biological women, and it's like they're turning them into men. They're turning them into men. Very, very weird, odd stuff. It's sounding crazy, but it's not going to be crazy in the future. Maybe 2 years from now, it's not going to be as crazy. Maybe some of us are allowed to see these things early. But no, I'm not very excited about Trump. I'm just glad that it ain't Kamala Harris. I don't care. Every single time I laid my eyes on that woman, which I wonder if she is a woman. From that what I saw in that dream and what I've seen in visions, she looks like a woman on the outside, but whatever energy that body is a host for is not feminine, it's masculine. It's masculine. When I heard her talk in my dream, she had a deep voice that sounded like the Hellraiser. Sounded like that sounded like the pinhead from the Hellraiser. That's what that voice sounded like. Very masculine voice. So it was like you wouldn't have had time to snap your finger had she been in. You wouldn't have time to blink. You wouldn't have time to breathe. Now, some people don't get this because they think she a black woman. And listen, I don't care what she is. I'm not even about to argue about this lady being a black woman. Who cares? I don't care if she was Russian. I don't care. All I care about is what's best. What's the better choice? Even if they all in cahoots together, I just know that had Kamala Harris been in, it really would have been Obama running the show. And some of us saw that movie called Leave the World Behind. This guy was wearing his shirt with this, looked like it's somebody from the Middle East. And like some kind of a leader, dictator. And it said obey. And I'm telling you, for some reason, that shirt was giving me Obama vibes. And it was produced by Michelle Barack Obama too, I believe. You know, and you just wouldn't have had time. Over here, I don't care for what's happening with Trump. He's heavily focused on AI. It seems like Elon Musk is having a lot of control. So we know about everything's about to be completely AI. They don't care about a human. They are doing away with the humans. They want to kill Earth. Earth ain't going to die. It's just going to be people who are going to be stuck on Mars that's going to have to get back to Earth. That's all that's going to happen if they realize there's something happened. Oh yeah, before I even had that dream about having a dream that I was on Mars, I had a dream about being in my current place, which I would like to call Earth, but I really think it was been Saturn all this time. But I was remember being in this classroom and it was all female, and it was all brown ladies, and the teacher was like, somebody was like, one of the students was like, praising the teacher, like, one day people need to give you your flowers. You're gonna get your flowers. And she was like, yeah, let's see if they say that on Mars. The teacher said, let's see if they say that on Mars. And she said they would have laughed. So it's like she already knew that they were going to Mars. That was 2 times. I haven't had no dream like that after that, because I might have, but I've been trying to I already know consciousness is going to be transferred to Mars if it has not been so already. But Donald Trump is telling you the truth. He's telling you everything that he's going to do. He's telling you everything he's going to do. I don't think the finances are going to be the biggest concern. It might be a concern for some people, but to be honest with you, I never got benefits. When it came to healthcare insurance, the only time I got 100% coverage is when I did not have a job and I got really sick, and I didn't have a job, and the lady called me, and I signed up for Medi-Cal. And because I signed up for Medi-Cal because I wasn't working, I was able to have everything covered. Had I been working, and my income per month would have been over $1,800, I would not have been able to qualify for Medi-Cal, and I would probably be having to pay my hospital bill until this day, and it probably would have been well over $50,000. And I would have had to pay that to this day, because the insurance I have now, I got the kind of best insurance I can get, but I would still have a copay. But because I was not working, and I didn't make over $1,800 a month because I didn't have a job at the time and I got real sick, I was able to qualify for Medi-Cal, and Medi-Cal covered all my medication. It covered my everything that I needed. It covered all my doctor's visit. I never ever had a copay under Medi-Cal. Only thing is, you got to make sure you never make money. But then when you make money and you get insurance, you got to make sure you never get sick. Because if you get sick and you have to stay at the hospital a period of time, then that copay is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be like a doggone college loan that you're paying back. Okay, so I can say that was the one time I got benefits. But other than that, and I just happened to be able to have to sign up for insurance because I was in the hospital. But other than that, I've never been on any kind of benefits. I've always had to pay extra in taxes. I was always holding up other people and paying for everybody else. So as far as the income, I really haven't got a break except for that one time I got sick, and I ended up getting on Medi-Cal. But other than that, I never benefited from everything these other people get. I never got those benefits. So I can't really say that I don't have a dog in that particular fight right there. Okay. But yeah, let me go. It's time for me to go feed my dogs. I'm late. You know what, guys? There's nothing wrong with being lazy. I don't want to work. If it's not what I am meant to be doing, which I know what my soul wants me to do, if it's not that, I shouldn't be doing anything. But why do I have to do what I'm doing? Because I have to pay the bills. Like everybody else, have to pay the bills. But no, I would like to be lazy. I don't want to do anything. And there's nothing wrong with that. People will have you believe that you always have to be busy doing something. An idle mind is a devil's playground. Well, I get that, but at the same time, you don't want to be too busy, caught up with work and all this other stuff, because also, this ain't the right, because also, when you get too caught up with the world and being busy and having things to do and having to make sure you pay your bills and all that stuff, then you become too worldly and you get too far in your ego, and you lose your connection with the divine, which a lot of people have done that right now. You lose your connection with the divine because your whole life is work and paying bills, and there's nothing else there, right? So I don't want to keep saying, I don't really care for that saying, idle mind is the devil's playground. You're not going to be idle. You don't have to just work just to pay the bills, and you're doing something that you might not necessarily hate it, If you do hate it, that's the doggone problem, though. You want to make sure you get out there right away, because that's messing with your soul. You go to a job that you have to psych yourself up to go to every day. That messes with your, that's messing with your soul. Okay? I don't hate my job. I don't completely love it, but I certainly am far from hating it. Far from hating it. Like, I actually like it. It's just not what my ultimate soul's purpose is, but I actually like it. But you get to a point where you hate something, that's too much energy. That's take too much energy off of you. You got to figure out what you're gonna do with that. Like, come on, if you're smart, if you did not have to go through remedial classes, here's this: if you did not have to go through remedial classes, and if you did, that's fine. But like, if you were a person who actually you did not take special ed classes, and you were able to take regular classes, then you have enough intelligence to come up with something else to do rather than stick to a job that you absolutely hate every day. You don't want to do that to yourself. You don't want to do that to yourself, because that's not healthy at all. You can come up with something. If you didn't have to take special ed classes, you can come up with a plan. Okay. Now, I know some people are waiting on retirement, but I don't trust retirement. I don't trust staying at a job for 25, 30 years to retire after what they did with the pandemic. I don't trust depending on retirement after what they did to people during the pandemic, when people refused to get, what, and they were just fired, and other reasons why people were just laid off after working for so many years and saving up for their retirement. All of a sudden they just laid off with nothing and they can't start over. After that, I just absolutely did not trust. And I wasn't a person that stayed at one job for 20 and 30 years anyway. I wasn't never that kind of person anyway. So that wasn't nothing I was ever concerned about. But at this point in time, you can't trust nothing. And you know what? This lady, I was looking at this lady channel, and she pulled up one of these people comment in her chat, and she said that she's so heavenly bound that she's no earthly good. I get that, but at this point, you do want to trust on God, and God might not be the God that the God that you depend on is not necessarily, might not be the God that a lot of people have worshipped. I don't think people know what they were worshiping before, because I believe in the Old Testament it seems like a God of war, but I'll just say, I get what she was saying. And at this point, with everything happening with the banks, people saying, take your money out of the banks and do what? Because what's going to happen if they go completely digital? Then what? You're going to have somebody else to have complete control. They can cut off your funds anytime. I get what that lady was saying. Like, yeah, you do need to put all your trust in God, because even if you make a lot of money, even if you know how to take all your money out the bank, okay, but whatever. Or like people who are ready to retire, and all of a sudden a pandemic comes around where they lose their retirement. Like, I get what she's saying. You really cannot trust in this world. You cannot put your trust in this world like that. I completely get what she's saying about putting your trust in God. But while somebody else is saying put their trust in God, is their trust in God? It's easier said than done, because most of these people, I don't understand how anybody's who's completely trusting in God, how are they still on this plane of existence? Which God are they trusting in? Which God are they focused on? Because their conscious awareness should not still be in this plane of existence if you are completely focused on God. And to be so close to God and you still here, I would question why. Which God are you serving? Okay, because I can say that I'm in the I'm a work in progress. I'm working on that right now. But for people who are who are kind of more heavenly bound, I would want to ask, why haven't they been like taken out of this plane of existence yet? because I'm a work in progress. I ain't going to say that I was always focused on God. I'm not going to tell that lie. But for the people who are heavily bound, I don't understand why they're still here. Why are you still here? You should be like in your light body by now. You really should not have a shadow left. If you're that focused on God, you shouldn't even have a shadow. There's no way that you should be in the material world. Like, you should be in your light body. You should not have a shadow. Why is that? If you're that focused on God, why is that you still have a shadow? Why is that? So, and that person could be focused on God, but which God are they focused on? Okay, but anyway, I don't want to get too far to the left with that. I only brought that up to say that with all this stuff, you really can't put your faith in this world. So I do agree with what that person said, even though a lot of people can be hypocrites, because if you tell somebody else to put their focus on God, you got to make sure that's what you're doing, and most likely that's not what you're doing. Nobody is putting their 100% faith in God. Nobody. I don't know anybody. I don't care how religious they are. Nobody has put 100% faith in God. Nobody has done that. Everybody I have ever met, no matter how spiritual they are, I still see ego. They still have a shadow. They still have faults. They still not perfect. Because the Bible says to become perfect. Like, if you 100% focus on God, ain't nothing else, you're going to eventually get to the point where you're going to be perfect. You will. I mean, the Bible does say to be perfect. It says it in the New Testament. I don't even remember which exact verse, but I remember it was the Apostle Paul. Said, be perfect. Now, it's a work in progress, but he even knew you can't get to a point where you are perfect. But even Jesus, the character Jesus, said that these things that I'm doing, you are to do these things, but you're supposed to do even greater things. So with all the miracles that Jesus was performing, Jesus even said that you're supposed to do greater things than that. But how many people are doing greater things than that? But these are people that tell you to put all your faith in God, but they faithing in God because why aren't they doing the miracles that Jesus was doing? Why aren't they doing greater things? If your faith was that much in God, you would be raising the dead by now. Like, you would be healing the sick. You'd be doing a lot of stuff if all your faith, if you had, I don't think people understand what it's like to be 100% faith in God, and it's you and God and that's it. You wouldn't be human. You would not be human. And that's not like a bad thing. That's a good thing. Because you want to evolve up out of the human level. You do want to evolve. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that. But when people act like they so into God, they're a liar. Because you would not be here. Right? But anyway, with that being said, I'll talk later.